Alright, man, them Miguel them, Wagwan, this is Jamal Lee, and this is my first NBA video. I've been wanting to make NBA content for a long time on YouTube, but I kind of always felt like I didn't have enough knowledge in terms of basketball and stuff like that. I never played basketball growing up. I started playing basketball as an adult. Definitely subscribe if you want to see my progression as an adult learning how to play basketball. But I wasn't always an NBA fan. I became an NBA fan specifically in 2014. I remember this vividly. I went to my first Raptors game because I'm from Toronto. I went to these youth programs and stuff. Some of my mentors back in the day, they took us on a connection is what we would call it. We went to the Raptors game and bro, it was actually so amazing to see these guys play basketball at a high level. And I became a NBA fan. I became a Toronto Raptors fan. I've always kind of rooted for my city's teams, you know, the Blue Jays, the Maple Leafs, the Argos, the Raptors. You know, I've always kind of rooted for my teams, but like I never was tapped into the sports and stuff like that. Oh yeah, shout out to the Toronto soccer team. You know, they put in work in the last couple of years, and Team Canada made it pretty far into the World Cup for the first time ever. Super sick. But I was never like tapped into the sports. But I became an NBA fan in 2014 when I went to my first Raptors games. Unfortunately, Derrick Rose cooked us. I was so cheesed. I was like, yo, who's this Rose guy, bro? I didn't know the ball knowledge. I'm like, who's this Rose guy? He's cooking us right now. But he cooked us, and it is what it is. So that's my history of becoming a Raptors fan. And I always felt like I didn't have enough knowledge to speak on NBA stuff, share my thoughts. And I have a lot of thoughts and opinions, but I don't have a basketball background. So some terms and like what I see people do on the court, the way they pass the ball at certain times or whatever, I don't have all the technical terms. I'm still learning. Hopefully I gain the knowledge and become better at speaking about basketball on a technical level. But yeah, so I've always kind of felt held back like that, but I'm taking the jump and I'm making my videos. So yes, I yapped for 3 minutes. I'm sorry. But LeBron James has signed to the Philadelphia 76ers. I just want to say I'm a LeBronto survivor, bro. I like pouring out. Man, them in Toronto, we were on lock by LeBron James, bro. This guy was cooking our city for years. I'm a LeBronto survivor. Back in those days, bro, I was like borderline. I don't hate people. I never really hated anyone like that. But borderline, LeBron James. This man wanted us to hate him still because he was cooking us, bro. This guy was hitting like, you know, like shimmy, reverse turnaround jumpers, off the glass jumpers in the playoffs. This guy's hitting the little nice that 3 balls. Like, bro, he was cooking us. So I'm a LeBronto survivor, and now he's back, fam. He's back on the team that we almost lost to in the conference finals, but Kawhi came through with that clutch shot, and then we ended up winning the championship that year. He's on that team, and we're getting Kawhi back, so it's kind of interesting. Well, hopefully we get Kawhi. It's kind of interesting, but LeBron is back in the Eastern Conference. So I'm definitely getting some war flashbacks. You know, it's kind of tragic out here, but he is an older LeBron James. He's not the same LeBron James. However, his team is kind of stacked. So let's talk about that. LeBron James on the Philadelphia 76ers. You know, you got VJ Escombe, you got Tyrese Maxey, you got Joel Embiid when he's playing. He's still an amazing player. He could be a top 10 player easily when he's healthy and playing. You got Jaylen Brown. Bro, Jaylen Brown. I don't know what the Celtics were thinking. They traded their rival, their conference rival, Jaylen Brown, for Paul George. Respect to PG. I love PG. Back in the LeBronto days, PG was hooping against LeBron on the Pacers, like toe-to-toe. I remember being so amazed with Paul George in that playoffs where I think they went to Game 7. I'm not sure. You know, scoring like over 120 points, like the team scoring over 120 points in the game or something like that. PG was amazing in those days, bro. I remember being so amazed, and I became a fan of Paul George since then. But still, Celtics, bro, you gave them Jaylen Brown, fam. Jaylen Brown is on a heater right now. His career arc is only going up. He's only getting better. He's a tough player. Like, it's crazy. So they have all that, and then they added LeBron James for only 8 mil, fam. 8 mil. Like, nothing. A player like LeBron, yes, he is older, but LeBron can still be like your number 1 player in 2026. He can be your number 2 for sure. LeBron can easily get like a 30 mil a year contract or more. You know, maybe I'm tripping, but I feel like he can. Obviously, like depending on the landscape of the NBA, teams might not want to pay him that much, especially because in his Twitter post, he said this is his last decision. So maybe it's his last 2 years in the NBA. He signed for 2 years, 8 mil. It's still a hella steal for LeBron James. Even at this old age, LeBron is still amazing at basketball. He's still a hooper. He's still a plug and play guy. Like, he can work on any team. I seen some people say like they don't know how it's going to work. Mans are forgetting that LeBron has been increasing his shooting ability tremendously over the years. Like, he's genuinely a good 3-point shooter nowadays. and he can genuinely knock down the shots. Like LeBron he can do that. He can be a spot up shooter. He can be the person waiting in the corner for the ball. He can play off ball now. I mean, he's always been able to play off ball. He's always been a very smart player that can just fit with most kinds of players. But like now he has a really respectable 3-point shot and just a good shot in general now. I mean, his shot has never really been terrible, but now he's a shooter. LeBron's a shooter now. He had the Lanai's that 3-point shots before in the past, you know, the playing around with the basketball and then shoot in your face and you're confused, like what's going on. He had that, but he's better now at 3-point shooting. So on a Philadelphia 76er team that has VJ Edgecombe, Tyrese Maxey, a great facilitator, a great scorer on all levels, Jaylen Brown, an amazing scorer, and then Joel Embiid, of course, all levels as well, amazing scorer, and a big man. He can rebound, he can pass, you know, he can be in the paint, do all that stuff. You're adding LeBron James, who can be anything you want him to be, basically. He's the Ditto of the NBA, in my opinion. He's the Ditto, bro. He can, if you're familiar with Pokemon, there's a Pokemon named Ditto who can morph into any Pokemon. The strongest legendary Pokemon, Ditto can morph into that and use their abilities and hit just as hard as those Pokemon. LeBron can kind of do that, bro. I don't think there's any issues with the fit. I think LeBron will fit in really nicely with his team, and he can still defend even at his older age. We've seen him defend pretty well in the past 2 years when it really matters. So I'm not really concerned about the defense. Jaylen Brown is a respectable defender. Joel Embiid, we know what he does in the paint. Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe, it's not like they're absolutely terrible at defense either. I think they can still hold their own. So that starting lineup is looking kind of deadly. Just from an offensive standpoint, like they might be torture mans. They might be cooking people in the East especially. I'm happy to see LeBron is still in the NBA. I became a LeBron fan over the years more and more, especially like towards the later end of his career, like in the last like 5 years, because it's amazing to see what this man is doing at this age. Honestly, it's very motivating as somebody who's getting older. I'm not his age yet. I'm 28, turned 29 this year, but it's amazing to see a man still put in work like that. And, you know, even do things like get his son in the NBA. People have different thoughts about that, but it's really amazing to, bro, Bronny, him passing the ball to Bronny in the playoffs and Bronny hitting the 3-pointer and stuff like that. That's amazing. On top of his high level of gameplay and intelligence and stuff like that, it's amazing to see him do that. So I became a LeBron fan more and more over the years, and I'm excited to see him play more in the NBA, and especially in such a completely different role. Like he's no longer the face of the franchise or like the first or second option. Like I think LeBron James comes on this team and he is whatever the team needs him to be. He's honestly, he might be like the fourth option, the fourth, fifth option. And I think that is okay and should be interesting to see play out. So I'm excited to see that LeBron adapting that new role. $8 million for 2 years. That's insane, bro. You're paying $4 million a year for LeBron James, who is still a top 20 hooper in the NBA, in my opinion. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But speaking a little bit about the Raptors, because I am a Toronto man, Kawhi Leonard on the Raptors, like low key, every year since I've been an NBA fan, we kind of get underestimated as a team in the NBA. People just ignore Canada, just ignore the Raptors. And every year it's like, oh, Raptors are not going to be that good. Raptors are not going to be that good. Like, especially if you want proof of what I'm talking about, look at the narratives surrounding the Raptors when Kawhi Leonard left. The year after Kawhi left in 2020, people are like, oh, Raptors are trash, whatever. Bro, Raptors were still really good. Kyle Lowry, Pascal Siakam, Van Vliet, we still had Serge. The team was still tough, and we still won over 50 games that year after Kawhi left and even made it to playoffs and all that stuff. So every year, my point is that Raptors are always underestimated, and it's just kind of crazy. Like last year, mans were saying like Raptors are not going to get to the playoffs. Mans are saying Raptors can't really do anything. Fam, we pushed the Cleveland Cavaliers to Game 7 without Emmanuel Quickley, who is a substantial starter on our team. We did not have Emmanuel Quickley the whole series. Brandon Ingram was non-existent in that series, fam. This guy was dookie. Shout out to Brandon Ingram. I like him as a player and the person. He seems cool. But fam, he was trash in the playoffs, bro. Against the Cavs, this guy was not saying anything, bro. He was not saying anything. So we were without two of our starters who can easily get like 20 points or more on any night. And we still pushed the Cavs to Game 7. You know, on a year where mans were saying we weren't going to make the playoffs. On a year where mans were saying the Charlotte Hornets were better than us. We made the playoffs and we pushed the Cavs to Game 7. Let me remind you who the Cavs have. James Harden. I know people say he's washed up, but he's still James Harden. He's still a really good player. If we had Harden on our team, it'd be a different story. So James Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Donovan Mitchell's a really good player. Like arguably a top 10 player in the league, depending on who you're talking to. Jared Allen, really good center. Evan Mobley, crazy defensive centers. And then they had really good role players who are almost all-stars at their role. Really good role players who play defense. They hit their shots and they're always ready for whatever their team is asking of them. So that Cavs team was actually a really well put together team, a team that people were even saying could win the championship at the beginning of the year. We're saying that it could have been the #1 seed and all this stuff. That was a really good team. And I think one of the most expensive teams in the league, right? But the Raptors took that to 7, fam. Low key, if we just had one of our guys, bro, if we had Emmanuel Quickly, if we had IQ, even for like 15 minutes a game, bro, Raptors would have been in the conference finals, bro, low key. I think the Raptors genuinely could have beat Detroit last year in the playoffs. So I think if we beat the Cavs in that game 7, we would have bust up Detroit and made it to the conference finals. And then the Knicks probably would have slapped us. But, you know, I don't know. You never know, really. Scotty Barnes is out here. So all that to say, Raptors get underestimated every single year, and it's happening again. You guys are telling me that we traded away Brandon Ingram and Grady Dick, who was supposed to be a shooter but hasn't done nothing after his second year, which was decent. We traded away those guys and we got Kawhi back, fam. We got Kawhi, and then we also drafted a really good big for our team. Like, bro, adding Kawhi to this team and having IQ playing, if we have IQ playing in the playoffs with Kawhi, we're better than last year. We're tremendously better than last year. We're, in my opinion, low-key in contender range at the highest point of this Raptors team with Kawhi on the team. Kawhi, Scotty Barnes, RJ Barrett, IQ. We have shooters like Jacoby, who's only getting better, and he's also a scrappy defender. We have man like Jamal Shed, scrappy defender, really good facilitator off the bench. Hopefully his offense gets better. We have Gravis. Bro, come on, man. Come on, man. And honestly, Jakob has been getting disrespected for the past couple of years, and I understand he hasn't been the best. His back has been mashed up, so we have to allow him. His back has been mashed up, bro. He's recovering. Hopefully he's fully recovered this year. But Jakob, at his peak, he's actually a really good center. You know, hopefully Jakob comes back stronger. And if Jakob is good this year, like, bro, championship team, Raptors ring, bro. Scotty Barnes first ring, let's go. But Scotty Barnes himself, supercomputer, amazing facilitator. He's low-key an underrated scorer. Like, Scotty Barnes can get his shot whenever he wants to. One of the things that pissed me off watching him last year was that he didn't, you know, just will his way to get a basket enough. I feel like Scotty Barnes can easily average like 25 points a game if he wanted to. Maybe that's not necessarily what the team needs, but there are moments where he can kind of feel a little docile, a little more chill and laid back in terms of the offense. I know he's amazing on defense, like arguably should be in contention for DPOY last year. And when I say last year, I mean like this past year. I know the championship just happened, but yeah, Scotty Barnes, he's amazing on all levels. Like a really well complete all-around player, even this early in his career. So we add Kawhi to that. I know Kawhi's a little bit older, but fam, we know what Kawhi does. Aimbot, he's a cyborg, like defense, his hands, he has ultra instinct. Yo, name another player in the NBA that has ultra instinct. None of them, bro. Kawhi has ultra instinct. This guy is catching steals. He's getting steals and deflections without even like looking, bro. Without even seeing or hearing. His senses are just like, bomb. He just grabs the ball, bro. So Kawhi still has ultra instinct. He still can get buckets. Like, this guy averaged like 28 points last year, and he played a decent amount of games. I think 60 plus games in the last 2 years, in the last 2 seasons, I believe, or the season before that. But either way, he played 60 plus games in the last 3 years per season, and he's still a bucket, 28 points per game, hella efficient. Like, name a guy that's more efficient than Kawhi right now that can score this many points. I don't know. And then he defends really well, ultra instinct, like I said. So we're adding a guy like that to our team. And like, you know, we have a pretty good history. I know it's only 1 year sample size, but with Kawhi, we load managed and, you know, kept him healthy for the playoffs, and it paid off. I think we can do that again. I think the Raptors have an excellent health load managing staff. You know, they make good decisions in terms of people's health and keeping our players good. Like, for example, IQ, maybe they could have like forced him to play or something like that, you know, get him out there, and maybe we would have won the game. But, you know, I think our medical staff and team was like, yo, and obviously part of that is listening to the players themselves too. If they're not ready, they're like, yo, you know, IQ should just sit out, even though this playoff run, like we're in game 7 and all that stuff. So I think we can keep Kawhi healthy, bro. I think we can keep him healthy, and I mean, God willing, you never know what happens. But if Kawhi is healthy in the playoffs, like, don't sleep on the Raptors. I think it's just us and LeBron at this point, you know? But it's not going to be Lebronto. Look, Kawhi is the Lebronto curse breaker. I mean, Kawhi is the difference. Kawhi, do we think, you know, Kawhi is the difference, bro. I love the DeMar DeRozan. I love the Kyle Lowry and DeMar DeRozan era. It was amazing. It was fun to watch. I think we had a lot more potential than we showed. a lot of times in the playoffs, those teams, I felt like they kind of gave up mentally before they actually lost the game, you know? I think they could have beat LeBron in some of those years, but mentally they checked out. So I think Kawhi is the difference. Kawhi, nothing gets to his brain, bro. Nothing gets to his brain. A man will box him in his face and Kawhi will be like, so what? I have to win the basketball game. Like, I don't care, you know? So yeah, man. Raptors are underrated. LeBron is on the 76ers. This was my first NBA video. I know I talked a lot, but appreciate you if you listened. Stay tuned for more content. Let me know if I should continue doing this, continue making NBA content, because I'm kind of nervous. I don't have a lot of basketball knowledge or expertise, like I said, but I really love basketball. Like, I started learning, I mentioned earlier in the video, I started learning how to play basketball as an adult, and I genuinely love basketball. Like, it really became like an art to me. I've always loved music and making videos since I was a kid, but I think basketball low-key is up there with them right now. Like, I can go and play basketball for hours. People often will be like, yo, I'm done, still I'm tired. I can keep playing. I can go to an empty court and just shoot hoops for literally hours if I didn't have other responsibilities or things to do. So yeah, I really love basketball right now. So let me know if I should keep making these videos. But until next one, we out. Peace.